Hi, everybody. This is Chloe Hudson with World Peace Projects. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I wanted to talk about my simple technique for quieting the mind. Now, simple does not always mean easy because practice makes for more practice, right? So before we get into it, I just want to notify everybody that this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be having another Soul Fracture Fixer Mixer, 2 hours, $24. If you are interested in doing some pretty deep level shadow work with a wonderful supportive group for a fantastic price where you get one-on-one intuitive reading from me, please go to worldpeaceprojects.global and sign up for this weekend. I'd love to see you. And I also have my next round of courses have begun. So if you missed Psychic Self-Defense last year, I am now doing a Psychic Protection one-day immersion class. This is going to be on October 16. This is a Saturday. Starts at 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's a 6.5-hour day with some breaks in between, $222 for this one-day immersion course. I would love to see you there. We will be learning advanced techniques for psychic self-protection. All right? Now, simple techniques for clearing the mind. I think a lot of us have worked for a long time on quieting our thoughts. This is a mindfulness practice that isn't even necessarily inclusive to the spiritual community, right? A lot of us have issues with our thoughts. And I think that right now there's also a up level or an uptick of a new round of imposing thoughts. Now, I've spoken before on the anatomy of thought forms as a plasmatic field. If you haven't seen that video, check it out here. It's a really interesting explanation of how our thoughts are actually plasmatic frequency and therefore how they can be manipulated. So regardless if our thoughts are imposed by our monkey mind or external influences, and we're having trouble getting out of our head or quieting these thoughts that can be annoying, they can often be self-deprecating, self-abusive, stressful, what have you. My simple technique is not to effort to quiet the thoughts that are active in the mind itself, but rather to drop your consciousness out of your mind and deeper into your body. So this is a process called interoceptivity. I've talked a bit about this before. Interoception is our ability to feel our internal body processes. So when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, you have to pee, these types of feelings are interoception. We have interoceptors in our body, just like receptors that can get triggered. Now, women have all experienced this when we have an acute bout of crying. Often we can presume that this is a crying for joy, a crying for emoting some kind of subconscious trauma purge, but more commonly, even though we have a physiological response where we suddenly cry, our brain wants to find a solution. So our brain tells us that the reason that this is happening is because A, B, and C. Though often it is simply a physiological expression of your interoceptors being overstimulated. And when these overstimulated interoceptors get kicked up, we can have an emote of crying, right? So this is just to help you understand a little bit about interoceptivity. Now, if you've done any somatic work or working on your clear interoception, then you have the ability to begin to tune in and sense your body from the inside. This is a very important sense to build upon, because when it comes to finding maybe miasms in your body, which are the zones in your physical body that are storing energetic trauma, and therefore dis-ease may manifest in that zone, it's important to utilize your interoception to place where these miasms are in your body. So then you can tune in and assist that part of your body to show you the story or whatever's happening. This usually comes in a little package where maybe you get clairvoyant images, possibly you get feeling sensations, memories, whatever your clairs are that you like to utilize. So when it comes to thoughts that are invasive in our mind, we're paying attention because our consciousness is now in the upper zone of our body. Our consciousness is in our head. And as we've spoken before, our mind, our brain is apathetic. It has no ability to feel or understand emotion. It can try to analyze emotion and place logical understanding on it, but there's no feeling sense here. So work to drop the consciousness out of the mind, out of the upper zone of your head, down into your body, and start to feel into your body. You're taking the attention away from the thoughts itself. That way you ease any importance or energy that's placed onto them. And very often, just like anyone or any child or animal, if you take the attention off of them, they might for a little bit, get louder and try to get more attention. But after a while, they're going to give up and move on because they're not getting the response that they're desiring. It's the same with thought forms. If you're having thoughts that are annoying or they're upsetting or you just don't want to be thinking right now, pull your consciousness out of your mind into your body and practice this. You can do it right now. An easy way to do this is squeeze your perineum. Squeeze your sphincter muscles. That immediately forces your consciousness to focus in interoceptively to that muscle, right? Place your feet on the floor. Push your fingers into your palms. Start to bring focus into different zones of your body. My favorite is to teach feel into the back body. Feel your bum on the chair. Feel your spine pushing up against the back of the seat. Start to feel into the back of your skull. Pull your energy back into your body so you're much more of an observer, right? Now, when you have gotten to a place where you can interoceptively pull your consciousness into a different zone of your body, and you're comfortable in that zone, then if you desire, you can begin to study the thoughts a bit and start to read the frequencies if you've developed this skill set. Because right now, as we all know, there is a lot more imposed thoughts that are not yours, as I explained in the video, The Anatomy and the Biology of Thought Forms. And you can start to recognize the thought form frequency signature so that you can clarify if this is your thought or not. Another reason that it's important to start pulling your consciousness out of your mind is because, as many of us are highly aware, our technologies are now able to read our thought forms through the frequential output, right? This is why when you're thinking something and then suddenly pull up some form of social media platform and bam, there's an advert for what you were just thinking, okay? And this is invasive. This has to do with your ability to shift your frequency, your electromagnetic field, your output and input. So if you want to work to start to manipulate your magnetic frequency in a positive way, effort to pull your consciousness out of your mind so that when you're functioning and doing things, you don't necessarily need to always think it. For example, it can be very difficult not to think your passwords as you're plugging them in. But it is a wonderful technique to master, to be able to insert your personal information that you do not want others to have without thinking it while you're doing it. This takes practice. Now, when you start to pull your consciousness out of your mind, any of these incessant thoughts, whether they be yours or external frequencies, often many of them will simply just fall away because they no longer have anything to magnetize or stick to. So it's a really wonderful experience. And often our thoughts can be terrorizing sometimes. You know, if we have these incessant thoughts and anxiety, or we can't sleep and our mind's just reeling and reeling, once you get the general hang of the general ability to pull your thoughts out of your mind, and then you experience these reel of thoughts coming through, they don't trigger you so much, because now you have tools and solutions, and you can begin to observe them and neutralize them through acceptance and allowance. That passivity of the allowance of them to simply be there is a huge component in helping to dissolve and dissipate them for good. Now, if you guys have any techniques that you would like to offer up for how to quiet the monkey mind, please leave them in the comments below. I'm so happy that you're here with me. Please come visit me on our Soul Fracture Fixer Mixer this Saturday, and I would love to see you guys in our new Psychic Protection one-day immersion course. I hope you're doing great. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.